Are you Jehovah's Witnesses?
Yes.
Yeah. Have you heard of, is it the Australian Royal Commission?
No, not really.
No. It's something, well, I was like studying the Bible, but there's something called the Australian Royal Commission, and it's sort of with paedophilia within.
Oh, yes.
Oh, yeah.
It was 2 years ago, nearly 2 years
What was that all about?
To be honest, I am not sure what was the... I think the Jehovah's Witness organization should be paid some... the word?
Compensation.
Because
They should be paid some compensation.
from the yes.
From the Commission?
I am not sure that the commission that... I know there should be pay some compensation.
This is what we know, as not from any like source, just word to word.
Yeah.
It was some prosecution against some people, which was Jehovah's Witnesses,
Right.
and they was fined about decision which they made. But
right.
I have no
Because
idea.
what I heard it was about was, if I remember rightly, the commission's like, it's like a commission in England where the government set up a commission and they appoint certain people to investigate something, and it was a commission set up to investigate child abuse within organisations, and I think one of the main ones was the Catholic Church. And they also investigated the witnesses, but I think there was 1,006 perpetrators within the witnesses, and I think there was something like 2,000 victims. But what this commission was saying was that out of those 2,000 victims and out of the 1,006 perpetrators, not one of them was reported to the police or the authorities by is it the elders?
Yeah.
It was all kept. You have something called a 2-witness rule, is that right?
Yes, in the Bible rules, is the Bible rules.
And what they were saying was, like, obviously a child being abused cannot have a second witness there, because I'm a victim of child abuse, so I know that. You know, what abuse there does it where there's a witness?
With this whole thing in Australia, I think it's those numbers are total, not to just Jehovah's Witnesses.
No, that was just because they did a report, because I've read some of the reports. I've read the one on the Catholics. They did it on lots of different organisations, and the one on witnesses actually said that within the witness organisation, just in Australia, there was 1,006 perpetrators and in excess of 2,000 victims. And out of those, so you don't know how many incidents there was. There could be lots of incidents, but none of them was reported because of a thing called the 2-witness rule.
Well, I think what I heard the same. It's just my opinion, and this is what I know and think. But there was not because of this rule to witness, just because of human decision. Basically, some elders, some people who were supposed to act on behalf of those vulnerable, like you said, kids, didn't act properly, and they didn't looking for best interest of this person.
Yeah.
They're just looking for best interest of themselves, and they a little bit mixed up.
Well, they say it's reproach on Jehovah or something, because there was an incident, it was reported in Ireland, where two elders reported to the police a case of child abuse, which, I think they should do. And they reported it to the police, and then what happened was, you have like an head office, don't you, in London? Yeah. Your head office in London sent some high up people to Ireland, made the people in Ireland pay for it, and then you Because your leaders in the churches are called elders, aren't they?
Well, they are not leaders, but they have more responsibility.
Yeah. But what happened was that they.
When they have making decision, they need to be sure of some thing, and it need to be based on the Bible first of all. And this what was in Australia. They didn't base their decisions
Yeah, but
on Bible.
the ones in Ireland.
They based their decisions on their opinion about the case.
But the ones in
This is-
Ireland who reported
yeah.
it to the police, they got removed as elders for reporting it to the police, didn't they? Because
Well,
are you
I'm
an
not-
elder?
No.
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 No. Do you have children?
No.
No. Because as elders, they have a thing called the Shepherd the Flock of God book, which anybody who isn't an elder doesn't see. And like obviously it's a guard book for,
I know.
for your finger.
This I know.
And when it talks about child abuse, it says the first thing that you must do is contact the branch office. And it talks about questions that you ask in relation to the accused. So you'd ask him, have you done it? If he says no and won't admit it, then you ask what his reputation is he spiritually strong, that kind of thing. But then you ask, what really confuses me is, in this book, it says 6 questions that you ask the accuser. So one of them is, what is their maturity? What is the family's reputation? Are they spiritually strong? And I'm confused as to why they would ask that. And then what happens is, when all the questions are asked by the elders, you then have to pass it back to your head office, don't you? Yeah, well, that's what happened. That's what happens. To pass it back to the head office.
To be honest, I never
Yeah.
done this, and I never experienced that. But this question, what you ask for, how they are strong spiritually, it's basically more like if this person could be trusted, because sometimes people can do some things, say some things, just to ruin someone else's opinion.
Right.
So, for example, you are an elder, I don't like you, and I will tell something bad about you to the others. I tell my wife to tell the same.
Yeah.
So there's 2 witnesses to that, and then elders can't decide because there are just 2 witnesses. They need to ask you what you said, etc.
Yeah, but I mean, this is in child abuse, isn't it? It's not
Yeah,
in ordinary life. So I mean, so what you're saying then, if somebody wasn't, when we're talking spiritually strong, if they didn't go to the meetings all the time, they would be classed not as spiritually strong, wouldn't they?
No,
No?
it's not about that.
What's that about?
It's basically their relation with Jehovah, their beliefs with Jehovah, and how they are close to the organization, to the Bible, to the principles in Bible. If they follow the principles in the Bible, they are strong in the spirit, in the truth.
But how would anybody know how close somebody was to Jehovah other than that person? Because your relationship with Jehovah is a personal thing, isn't it? It isn't through an elder or through like a group of men, is it? It's like your relationship with Jehovah is completely separate. I mean, I presume you're man and wife, yeah. Sorry, I was just assuming that. But your relationship with Jehovah is completely separate to your relationship with Jehovah. And your relationship to Jehovah has no bearing on his relationship to Jehovah, because it's an individual, personal thing. So if somebody is being judged as spiritually weak or strong, how can that be judged? Because what this is in, I mean, I've seen the book because I do a lot of research on the internet, and I've seen the book, and it does say that you've got to ask the reputation of the family, like the mother and the father. Do they attend? Do they not attend?
Yeah.
You know, what's the
Well,
reputation?
with attendance, it's more like how important is to that person to be on the meetings.
Yeah.
how important to that person is to grow up with knowledge about Jehovah and studying Bible and getting stronger and stronger.
But do you
with
think
relation
do you,
to
do you
Jehovah.
think that if somebody was accused of child abuse that it shouldn't be about reputations or anything else, that the first thing that should happen should be for that to be reported to the police? Would you agree with that?
Well, I think with child abuse, it's very easy to ruin someone's reputation.
But wouldn't the police be the best people to investigate that rather than?
Probably.
Yeah.
Probably. But if you report to the police,
Yeah.
there is, they will know, someone else will know about that, about just report. For example, you, driving silver Volvo, etc., hitting pedestrian and run away.
Yeah.
But you didn't do that, but just someone saw you driving broken down vehicle, damaged, and look like you.
No, but it's not the same, is it?
Yeah, well, it's not the same, but it's
with child
example.
Abuse, no, but with child abuse, if you came to me and said, so and so is abusing my child has told me this, then the elder said, right, all right, we'll report it to the branch or to the office or whatever the case may be. It should surely be, right, we need to report this to the police, because as Christians, aren't Christians meant to abide by the law of the land?
Yes.
Yeah.
In my opinion, it should be report to police to looking for to the facts.
Yeah.
What is the fact? I was abused like a child.
In the organisation?
It wasn't a person in organization.
Right.
There was nothing baptized. They are coming to our meeting.
Right.
That was interesting, like true.
Did you report it?
No, I didn't report it. I not really know what happened. I was
Too small.
I didn't even say it to my parents, like straight to say them.
But I mean, it's
because
interesting.
I don't know. Yeah, but I know how it's.
Yeah.
What is the feelings about that?
It's interesting because I was abused as a child as well. I was abused by my father, but he wanted Jehovah's Witness and everything. But it's interesting because I would think, and I'm asking myself, if you would have told your mum and dad, wouldn't you have wanted your mum and dad to go to the police and not an elder that has got no knowledge or training in relation to investigating sexual crimes?
Well, if in that case, elders, I think elders shouldn't be involved as much. Just take it to
To the authorities, yeah.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, I talked about the Australian Royal Commission and the case that happened in Ireland, but there's also a commission that's taking place now in England, with a charities commission that's looking into Jehovah's Witnesses and the status as a charity because of the child abuse issues. And they're doing a big thing at the minute. I can't remember what they called it. But they're trying to get people to tell their stories of being abused within an organisation such as the Jehovah's Witnesses. But there's also like law cases in Canada, America. I mean, in America they're being fined, or there was being fined, $4,000 a day because they was refusing to hand over to the courts information on child abusers that the witnesses had. They said, look, we've got this information, but they just refused point blank to hand it over because they say, you know, it should be just left in the hands of God. But if you follow the laws of the land, any child abuse case, if somebody reports if you was an elder and somebody reported child abuse to you, then legally you've got an obligation to report that to the police, otherwise you're complicit in a criminal offence.
Exactly.
And what it seems to be is, I mean, I'm not saying that all Jehovah's Witnesses are paedophiles, because they're not. It happens in every organisation. There's good and bad in every organisation. But what it seems to happen is that witnesses won't report it to the police because they say it brings reproach on Jehovah.
No. If someone doing like that, it's not what the Bible said.
Yeah.
And it's more like you can't cover yourself because explaining your bad behavior,
Yeah.
believing to God or ruining God's reputations, because God, we believe Jehovah don't need to be we don't need to take care about his reputation. He can take.
We can, yeah. I mean, I totally agree with that. And the other thing that I just wanted to quickly ask you about was, you do a thing called disfellowshipping as well, don't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, and shunning,
Shunning.
where you won't talk. Like if
Like
you
Like
decided you
marked
didn't,
up.
yeah, if you decided you didn't want to be a witness no more, and you were still a witness, you would shun your wife, and the chances are your relationship would probably end because of pressure within the organisation to not talk to your wife.
Not really.
No, that doesn't happen.
To be honest, this fellowship,
Yeah,
it's for best of interest this person who will be this fellowship.
yeah.
It's more like if that person do something wrong against rules set up in Bible by God,
Yeah.
then if this person don't want to change his behavior or her behavior, it will be this fellowship.
But what if there was asking like questions about, because you have like a governing body, don't you? Eight men, and there's a lot of talk at the minute about are these men the actual channel through which God works? And at this Royal Commission, do you know Jeffrey Jackson? Do you know who he is? Yeah, he's one of your governing body members, and he was called to the Australian Royal Commission. He was summoned to it, and he agreed to do it over a video link. And he was asked that, are you the channel in which God works? And he said that it would be presumptuous of us to presume that we are the only channel in which God operates. Anybody with an understanding of the Bible would be effectively a faithful slave to the Bible and to God and His Word. But yet, the Jehovah's Witnesses think that these 8 men are directed through Jesus, don't they?
No.
But they're not.
No. They are like decision makers,
Right.
in some cases, not in every, and it's like they are changing, for example, as well, and it's not for.
Is that the new light thing? Like when you change a decision on
No,
something,
no.
like old light and now the light
Well,
gets brighter.
I mean, they are changing. Well, one person isn't forever
Yeah.
in governing body.
Yeah, but if we're that close to the end, then surely, we won't be getting more and more people added. But they say that they're the faithful and discreet slave that feed God's congregations through God, and they give them the spiritual food at the correct time. But how do they give spiritual food if they're not a faithful and discreet slave? Because other people who have an understanding of the Bible could effectively be a faithful and discreet slave.
Well, it's more like what. How to explain that in English? English isn't my first language, that's why it's a little bit difficult. So, governing body, those people trying to fit rest.
So where do they get their information from?
From studying Bible, for example.
So it's
And it's sometimes you can read the same verse, and you can have different opinion. Even in governing body, they have sometimes different opinions.
Yeah.
They don't really need to always have the same opinion. But when they making decision, they need to make that decision based on the Bible, and they need to be agreed all of
so
them.
the decisions that they make are their own decisions then, as a group of
Well,
people.
It's need to be based on the Bible. This is the first.
So if they say, right, we want to sell your kingdom halls,
Yeah.
and we want to keep the money, and then we want you to pay us back. So, like, say they give you a loan to build a kingdom hall, and then they decide to make you pay. Well, they make you pay that loan back, don't they? You pay so much back, and then say they close your kingdom hall and then claim the money. that's obviously their decision, but they say that it's, you know, it's God's will that they're going to close the kingdom all, don't they?
Nie sądzę, żeby takie decyzje podejmowali.
I will translate her. It's we don't think so. They will make that decisions.
Right.
It's small. They are more likely deciding what will be in the watchtower, what type of articles.
Because there was actually, can I just jump in there? There was a really good article I read in, is it December's Watchtower, where it talks about domestic abuse and that how a woman should endure abuse if in an abusive relationship. Do you not find that that's... Have you actually got that?
In my phone,
Oh, yeah.
basically.
It talks about, you know...
Do you know about our website? Where
Yeah, I do, yeah.
JW.
We had like broadcasting, and I am not remember exactly which broadcasting it was about. After this situation in Australia, it was broadcasting about pedophilia, abusing child. Everything was on that. We had like on our website. It's like
Yeah, there might be a good signal
yeah,
in here.
it's broadcasting. And
When
one,
you go
one
on
from
our
the,
website, there will be on the bottom page
Yeah.
I go on your website loads of times.
JW Broadcasting,
Yeah.
and then you can choose from each month. There's every month audition, about 45 minutes also, to 1 hour, depends. And in one of them, it was mentioned about this.
I think it was October 2006
No, but
or 7. I'm not sure.
in your December's Watchtower though, it says about abuse if you're being abused within a relationship. If you're married and you're abused, that they encourage you to endure the abuse.
Yeah.
So,
Well, basically, I think it was because they saw that in some congregation, people don't follow the Bible rules and forgets about principles.
no, but if an husband is abusive to a wife, then that shouldn't happen, should it?
Yeah.
So why would your magazine say to endure that? Because you'll have a better marriage and you'll have a better relationship with God if you endure the abuse. It's in your magazine. If you look at it, it's in your first article in your December magazine.
Can you explain me endure? Because
Endure is
it's like
to keep going, to not leave your husband, to not get divorced, to stay with it and work it out, no matter how much he's abusive to you, to stay with it and work it out.
No. It was like which maybe you will remember. It's December. It was 2017. It was one from. It's December. It should be this one. Sorry, I have an English one. It was study from the Jehovah's Witness.
It was in your magazine for this December.
From this December?
Yeah, one of your latest magazines. Is it a study edition you have?
Yeah, study edition. Yeah, it was about I know which one you had. To było całe o małżeństwie, tak? I o tym, czy można się rozstać, o separacji, takie rzeczy, tak?
so. It was about like full marriage about marriage article. And it was if you can like separate from this person or
It was talking about abuse within a marriage, within a relationship. That the happier people are the people that endure and see it through to the end, kind of thing. But I think if somebody's abusive, it should be stopped there and then. But anyway, listen, I'm going to have to go, but I do have a confession to make. I am actually a disfellowship Jehovah's Witness. I was abused as a child, like I said. And last year, I started asking questions about the Australian Royal Commission. And after I'd spoken to 11 elders, I was told that if I carried on asking these kind of questions, I would end up getting disfellowshipped. And all I was asking was what's happening with the Royal Commission, what's happened, because as an abuse victim, I'm really concerned about it. Are we hiding paedophilia? And like I said, I ended up being asked, not to talk about it because it's negative, and it's, you'll get disfellowshipped, and hence I was disfellowshipped last year. But I do want to thank you for your time and for talking to me. I don't quite believe everything that you're saying. I'm sure you genuinely believe what you're saying.
I will tell you my experience with Jehovah's Witnesses and with believing in Jehovah. Basically, it's you're not believing because of the organization, because of the people which surrounding you, even because of those people which you're going to congregation with. You're believing to God because you're seeing that His rules affect your life in a positive way.
Yeah.
If it will stop, there is no Jehovah's Spirit in that. Then.
But if you did something wrong, for me to be reinstated as a Jehovah's Witness, I would need to show repentance for my actions, which I can't understand how I need. What repentance would I show for asking a question? And I would need to prove myself to a body of elders. Now that could take me 3 months, it could take me 6 months, it could take me 6 years to prove to those elders. But yet the Bible says that if you seek forgiveness, that Christ gives you forgiveness instantly. But yet within the organisation you have to prove to a group of elders, and that, like I say, that could take 2, 3, 4, 5 years to prove.
And they can judge you wrongly as well.
Yeah. But anyway, I'm going to have to go because I need to get off. But yeah, it has been lovely chatting to you. Okay, thanks for your time.
All right.
Cheers. Bye bye.